What would you say that you're most proud of when it comes to this show?
I'm proud of the fact that we were able to tell a well-rounded story of a brown Muslim man who is oftentimes in North American culture portrayed in a very particular, singular way, and we're able to tell a story that kind of encapsulates the entire breadth of human experience that we
Mhm.
were actually to be able to see him as a person, not as a victim, not as a villain, but just a person that is trying his best to contribute to society as best he knows, and in a way that doesn't harm other people, all the while making mistakes. To give him the permission, and to give people who look like that the permission to sometimes get it wrong as well. I think that there's this thing of having to be a model minority all the time, and we see Bashir mess up a lot, and it's like, okay, cool, they were allowed to mess up also. So yeah, I'm very proud that like that message has reached audiences as much as it has, and that it's resonated quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and he's a really complex character
Mhm.
too. I mean, there's so much kind of going on with him, I feel like, especially in this last season, which has been really interesting.
Uh-huh.
Talk a little bit about that and about I mean, he's going through we just saw with this most recent episode that he is like having these blackouts, he's like losing time and stuff. I mean, what's going on with that character? What can you say about kind of his trauma?
I feel like this isn't the first time that we're seeing Bashir have dissociative episodes and really deal with all the things that he doesn't have control over. And I feel, as somebody who really needs that to feel safe and feel secure, he just puts himself headfirst in his work, and kind of goes on autopilot. And then when he forgets about that, the beautiful thing about his trajectory is, when it first happened, he had no idea who to approach, and he blamed himself, and he kind of was reacting from a place of fear and wanting to take control of it himself. And what I loved about this season is, as soon as he realized it, he makes an appointment and says, "I need help because this happened."
Yeah.
And I think just allowing himself that forgiveness, and allowing himself that empathy, that like, all right, man, I can't do this by myself, is tremendous growth in that character. And it's the first step in dealing with that trauma, and not being able to control it, but walk hand in hand with it, and have a bit of a soft corner for yourself there.
Yeah. Well, and that leads me to something else too, because we have seen, this character go on such a journey and seeing these flashbacks and stuff as well. I mean, just in your own words, how would you say he's evolved over the course of the series?
I think well, one, it's, realizing who he is and not trying to change that or fix that is a huge element in anybody's personal growth. There's just like, all right, this is who I am. Now I can change my behavior around that. I'm ultimately going to be the same person, but I can change my relationship to who that person is. And even in the I don't think we've gotten there yet in where we are, but there's certain things about the fear of rejection and external validation, and this sort of desperation that he has to prove himself. We see that dissipate a little bit more and more, and his fears are more centered around how is he going to take care of the people in his life and everything, and really acknowledging his own strengths, and having faith in his ability, and um, having an understanding that he doesn't control these things, is a I think it's a great lesson, and it's something that I took away from it tremendously as well, because working in this industry, and obviously my experiences is nothing compared to what Bashir, as a refugee, and 122 million forcibly displaced people all over the world experience, but that desire for external validation, and finding some sort of security within acceptance of other people, is, as I think that's a human experience, and for him to have a better relationship with that is tremendous growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and he's in a really interesting place right now too in terms of his career and also in terms of what's happening with Mags.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, okay, so we're just at the point where, she's preparing for a heart transplant,
Yes.
and also gonna have the job that they were competing for, right? So, what do you make of their dynamic?
I love so deeply the Bash and Mags relationship, and to be able to have a wonderful dance partner such as Laurence Leboeuf to be able to tell that story with. It was just so much fun. Is far and away my favorite scenes to film were with her, and their relationship is just. I think it is when we realize that when she's getting ready for this. Transplant, and as immediately when she's in trouble he forgets about the job, and I think what really lands for him is it's always just been about the people that he loves. Like, the second Amira is in trouble, he doesn't care about whether he's going to work as a, we see this in the pilot, like he's barely stitched up in the opening of the pilot, and he runs out of the hospital because he'll do anything to make sure that his sister is safe. And now as we see Mags preparing for surgery, there's this fear because he's a doctor and he knows the complications that could arise and he knows how scary that is. And he's just like, he loses himself in how much he cares about her. And I think his priorities align when he's in conflict. And we have seen in the past how he makes bad decisions in the face of when he realizes priorities. And this season, I feel like he's just making better, more calculated, and more organic decisions rather than trying to force his control over the situation.
Yeah. I love their relationship too in the way that they were able to break up
Yes.
and they're able to just continue still having this, other kind of relationship with each other.
Yeah. I think often there's an attraction as a result of how seriously they both take their jobs, how committed they are to their patients, how how they both think they're the best doctor in the room. And I think that that level of competition has bred excellence. And regardless of whatever their romantic status has been, it has always been deeply rooted in a tremendous amount of respect that they have for each other. And however complicated that their personal lives may get, that thing has never wavered. So it's always made for very compelling stories that even once that's gone, now they're competing for the same thing head to head. And there's a wonderful respect for your competition there, but this kind of nice, flirty, thing of like, I'm gonna get it. I love this line where she's just like, Bash, I'm gonna do everything I can to get this job, and he just says, and you'll need to,
Yeah.
because he knows how good he is too, and it's great. I think that's the basis of their attraction for each other, is this tremendous amount of respect for each other's abilities and their care.
All right, so obviously it's the final season. Is there anything you're able to kind of tease? And I know it's a weird spot too because this has already aired, in
Yes,
Canada and we're what, a year after the fact or something like that.
yes.
Um, but is there anything you can kind of, hint about what we can expect from the finale where this is all?
Um, Not everybody's gonna agree that we made the right decision, but it's kind of that thing that it is the ending that Bashir deserves.
Okay.
Like, even regardless of everything that has happened in his life, has gone right, has gone wrong. There's some tragedy towards the end of the season as well, but ultimately it's the story that you hope for, and it's the story that you want anybody who has gone through as much as Bashir has to leave with. And me personally, it always left me with a smile on my face, and I think you'll see that it leaves Bashir with a smile on his face as well.
And then again, kind of, I know you're in a weird spot because it's been a while, right? But just looking back on your experience filming, is there a favorite moment, a favorite scene, favorite episode that stands out to you?
Season 3, episode 12, I think. I really like that one. It's when Bashir goes to goes back to Lebanon to help at at the refugee camp, and we find him looking for answers in the wrong places, and there's just this wonderful moment between him and his friend Saleh, played by Eli Shankji, and it's just I posted it recently. I loved so much this moment that they have at the end of that episode where you get to see you get to see two doctors who both refugees who both get to come back close to home, serve their communities, serve their people, and then they get to go back home as well. And as I was watching that, I'm like, with everything that we've seen over the last couple of years and in the awful circumstances that are happening in so many refugee camps all over the world, that to see two men who just want to make their families better and who just want to heal their community, that they actually get the opportunity to return home safely is just like it brought me to tears, and it immediately shot up to number one in my books as far as episodes of Transplant. So if you're in the US, that's available on Peacock right now, season 3, episode 12. Check it out.
Perfect. And then I'm just curious, what are you gonna miss most just personally? Or what do you miss most, I guess, personally about working on the show?
I mean, it's high school, right? You're, we did it for 4 years. It was beautiful. It's a cliche, but the real accomplishment is the friends you make along the way. And that is what I miss. Like, we had a wonderful community of actors and crew, and not only were we in this transplant bubble, but we were in a bubble within the bubble, because we filmed it during pandemic, and we all got tremendously close, and you learn people's nuances, and you learn people's their pet peeves, and you get very close to everyone, and it became a tremendously comfortable place to work, because you knew you were among people who cared about what they were doing, and I missed that environment terribly. It was so beautiful. It was a joy to go on that set, and it's Cheers. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and it was that they knew everything about you, and it was a pleasure. Well, not everything, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure. That's funny you said high school too, because 4 seasons. I mean, that's really kind of the perfect
Yeah, 4 years
analogy in
of
some
high
ways.
school, 4 years of university. It was another chapter of, like, it was a great level of education that you learn a lot with people that you were gonna know for the rest of your lives, and it's a shared experience. And I look on it the same way that I look back on 4 years of high school or 4 years of university. That there were moments there that will define what the rest of my life looks like, and I made relationships there that I will carry on for the rest of my life as well. So um, I'm I'm just as nostalgic about it as I'm excited to see what's next.
Yeah. And that is, I think my last question is if there's anything you can talk about in terms of what's next for you, if you have any upcoming projects that you want to share or hint about.
Yeah, there's a movie that I made directed by Fazia Mirza and Amrit Kaur that is releasing in theaters on June 20th. It's called The Queen of My Dreams. So it's in cities all over the US, and we're also looking to release a show called The Borderline, starring myself, Stephen Amell, and Minnie Driver. That will be hopefully coming to screens this fall. So yeah, check it out.
Awesome.
Hope you all like it. And yeah, thanks very much.